Hello and welcome. You're watching Beyond World is One. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and let's start this broadcast by taking a quick look at what is making headlines at this hour. An explosion at a cafe in Madrid results in injuries to 21 people, including 3 who are said to be in a serious condition. The blast occurs in the Vallecas district in the Spanish capital, and the authorities are still investigating the cause of the explosion. A Ukrainian drone crashes into one of Russia's largest oil refining complexes, sparking a fire and also causing some minor damage, while Russia claims that it has captured a new village in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region. The American President Donald Trump presses the NATO nations to stop buying oil from Russia and to impose sanctions on it, while proposing to impose about 50 to 100% tariffs on China till the Ukraine war ends. A scuffle breaks out between the protesters and the police at the anti-immigration protests in central London. The police makes 9 arrests at the far-right rally attended by nearly over 100,000 people. And thousands of people gather at Berlin's Brandenburg Gate to protest Israel's military campaign in Gaza, calling for an end to what the organizers are describing as a case of Israeli genocide of the Palestinian people. And the Israeli forces continue their bombardment of Gaza City, targeting multiple sites, including at least 3 UNRWA-run schools that were used as shelters by the displaced Palestinians. Now, the IDF claims that it has completed 5 waves of bombings, hitting nearly about 500 buildings in Gaza City in a span of a week. And at least about 12 soldiers are being killed in an ambush in northwest Pakistan in an attack claimed by the Pakistani Taliban. Now, the attack was one of the deadliest in months in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. And people in Kathmandu hold a candlelight vigil to pay tributes to those who were killed during the last week's anti-corruption protest, the worst unrest that has been witnessed in Nepal in years, which has killed at least about 51 people and has injured more than 1,300 others.
Making ends meet is getting tougher and tougher for Americans, especially those who have a mortgage. The Census Bureau reports the median cost for a homeowner is now more than $2,000 per month, with insurance premiums and HOA fees also on the rise. The numbers show monthly housing costs are at their highest level in decades, with the median monthly bill now at $2,035, up from $1,960 in 2023. Several factors impact the affordability crunch, including high mortgage rates and a low inventory of homes for sale. Freddie Mac reports the average for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage this week is 6.5%. The Washington Post reports that incomes have not risen to match the increasing cost of housing, with median income at about the same level it was 6 years ago in 2019. Renters are also feeling the pinch. Median rent prices rose by 2.7% from 2023 to 2024, with rent costs often taking up more than 30% of a tenant's income. The highest housing costs are in California, Hawaii, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Washington, D.C. Add to all that the bite that inflation is taking out of family budgets. The Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with fresh inflation numbers on Thursday, showing that the Consumer Price Index increased by 0.4% to 2.9% in August, up slightly from July. It is the highest inflation rate since January. All eyes will be on the Federal Reserve next week when the board meets and will possibly cut interest rates.
Given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them. Just kill them.
I cannot believe that we just witnessed Brian Kilmeade call for the execution of American citizens because they are homeless. Because they're homeless or have a mental health issue. Instead of getting help, he says just kill them. Just kill them is his words in front of millions of people. They are pushing for chaos like you've never seen. It's being done through the powers that be, right in front of your face. And all the stuff that's going down around us is manufactured and made to push buttons. Do not fall for it. I'm going to be dropping an upcoming video on where this is all going. This says it all. This guy should lose his job, and they should be protested, and so much more. He just called for our American people to be killed. Does anybody care?
Meantime, California state lawmakers passing a set of bills that would ban most law enforcement officers, including ICE agents, from wearing masks. Another bill would require them to identify themselves. Now, if signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, the law would prohibit neck gaiter, ski masks, and other facial coverings for local and federal officers. There are, of course, exceptions for undercover agents.
Police officer seriously injured in the Chicago suburbs. This was the scene just moments ago, Franklin Park, Illinois. An incident ICE sources tell Fox is being dealt with like an attempted murder of an ICE officer. It happened, as I mentioned, in Franklin Park, that is near O'Hare Airport, during an enforcement operation against a criminal illegal alien. We're told the bus turned violent when the suspect hit an officer, dragging him under the front bumper of his car as he tried to escape. The officer fired shots and killed the suspect. That officer suffered severe injuries, but the latest that we are told is in stable condition. And we will bring you updates as we get them.
Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachak, Kodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, to I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. All right, this video, or not the whole video, but, just another world news commentary. And I want to just briefly chime in on these few news clips here. I think there's about 3 or 4. And this video is probably in between. More so centered around the very next video. All right. And so what I typed in here in the chat thing, it says, how many states is Trump planning to send troops to? Okay. Now, this AI, right? I had one answer before. It's like a couple paragraphs, but it was real short. But now it says something a little bit different. The information is slightly different, but it'll still do the job. Okay, so we know this is a heavy talk right now because as I say at camp from time to time that there's a reason why prophecy is so important, because if you don't know prophecy, then you cannot see nor foresee the things that are going on. This is the reason why all the prophets, including Yahweh Shah himself, prophesied about certain things to give you certain signs given a certain season. Okay, in particular, Yahweh Shah was speaking about you can discern the face of the sky, so on and so forth, but not the times. All right, so and this is what the prophecies are for, to discern the times, man. Because what's that? There's actually quite a few places, but 2nd Esdras 9 is what I was thinking of, how the Lord would visit this place, with signs. Okay. But yeah, so right here, there's the question again. And here's the second response, because the first one I couldn't pull back up. President Donald Trump has announced plans to send National Guard troops to at least 3 states, Tennessee, Louisiana, and potentially Illinois, with past deployments in California and Washington, D.C. Now, notice how I think it mentions Chicago, but notice how which Chicago has been the one most talked about as of late, but that's not listed up here at the top of this list. But I mean, it's just a digital response from, a generated AI, right? So at least 3 states, Tennessee, Louisiana, and potentially Illinois, and deployments in California, Washington, D.C. And pretty positive. There's, brothers in all these areas, because I believe it mentions, I'm seeing, looking at it around there, right down there, New Orleans, the Nolans and Baton Rouge. All right, I know for a fact there's brothers in Baton Rouge, Cali, Chicago, all over, But the Lord is going to protect those brothers as well as all the brothers. All right, but regardless where we may be, okay, because this ain't just a state. How can I word it? A certain state thing. Okay, it's starting off at the heaviest places where he can, basically where he can go to and say, look at the crime here. All right, because the bullseye is being pointed now slowly towards the Southern Kingdom. So he's going to the heaviest states where he can say, look at the crime here. We got to do this here. We got to do that here. This is for sake of you tax-paying citizens, and look at the people that are doing it. Okay, because it's all about deceit and framing, that Southern Kingdom. All right, because he has to have a reason to go after the Southern Kingdom, just like he needed a reason to go after the Northern Kingdom. And as I mentioned the other day, it was easier to do that towards the north because, they opened the floodgates, right? They opened the borders, allowed them in here, then says, oh, they're illegal. So it was easy to point the finger towards the Northern Kingdom. Oh, you're illegal. Okay, let's get you out of here. But when it comes to the Southern Kingdom, okay, which also plays into his hand, though, when you kind of think about it. But when it comes to the Southern Kingdom, he can go at the angle of crime. Look at the crime. Look at these criminals. All right. Not talking about any of his history. Okay. Or I got black fatigue. Okay. Or we're scared now, so we have to stand up and fight for our country and all this nonsense. Right. So he can just say crime. All right. Because crime is a universal thing. But we can take crime and point it towards them because you do have the degenerates of the Southern Kingdom who are in high-level crimes. So it all works together. Okay, so it's all about framing. Okay, when it comes to the Southern Kingdom, it was very easy with the North, but the Southern Kingdom, they had to come in at a particular angle, and we see the angle that they're taking. Okay, it's the look at them, type deal. On September 12, 2025, Trump confirmed the deployment of the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee, to address the city's high. They say, I didn't get to read into it. High crime rate, which had the highest rate among large U.S. cities in 2024. You see, so they're going with their statistics. I believe Elder Yashua talks about it all the time, right? Their statistics and stuff like that. Okay, they roll those out, out of the back pocket when need be, when time calls for it. So Memphis, Tennessee, to address the city's high crime rate, which had the highest red room rate among large U.S. cities in 2024. The decision was made with the support of Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, a Republican. And you know what? The water helps from shot because the first search that I got didn't have all this extra stuff in there. Not saying all of it is super important, but if we can get as much as we can get, it's all helpful. Yep, so Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, a Republican, despite initial reservations from Memphis Mayor Paul Young, a Democrat, who stated he did not request the guard. But see, look, hold on, slow it down. Governor Bill Lee, a Republican, despite initial reservations from Memphis Mayor Paul Young, a Democrat, who stated he did not request the guard, but would work with them. See? Trump's administration has also drafted a proposal to deploy 1,000 Louisiana National Guard troops to urban centers in the state, including New Orleans and Baton Rouge, with the support of Republican Governor Jeff Landry. While the Pentagon has not confirmed his approval of, while the Pentagon has not confirmed the approval of this plan, military planning documents indicate a potential mobilization lasting until September 30th, 2026. Previously, Trump had expressed a strong desire to send troops to Chicago, Illinois, but faced resistance from Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker. He also deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C. as part of a crime crackdown, which we know it all started in D.C., right? It had to start at the Capitol. In order to roll this out, okay, it had to start at the Capitol. Because if you go and you jump into Chicago, New York, or wherever else, people will look like, wait a minute, but what about the state's capital? What about, the District of Columbia, okay? You went here before you went to D.C., our capital, and so yeah, that was strategically done. Let's go to the capital first, then no one will have anything to say about the crime. And I mean, of course, you have people that oppose it, but in a general sense, no one can really say anything about what we're doing if we go to other states, because we show them that we care about this country by making sure we crack down on crime in our state's capital first. See? Solid game with Esau, because you have to understand, Esau has this plan, planned up, all these things planned up for a while. He just needs the right crisis or crises, the right situation, okay, to bring forward the next, cogwheel, as I always say, okay, because every little cogwheel matters, man, because it connects to another cogwheel that connects to another cogwheel. It keeps the machine turning, okay, so every little plan is already, thought up, very well thought of. He just needs to roll it out at the right time. So he also deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C. as part of a crime crackdown into Los Angeles, California, in response to protests, though the California deployment faced illegal challenges. While Alabama cities like Birmingham and Montgomery have been mentioned by White House officials regarding crime, Governor Kay Ivey's office stated they are not currently targets for federal National Guard deployment. They should have put yet right there, but we get it. As the state is implementing its own crime fighting initiatives. Well, that's not going to be good enough. Okay. This is the end of Esau's, kingdom here. So he's going to do whatever is, necessary. Okay. And I wanted to get a scripture here. All right. I guess we can read what's on the screen. Lamentations 4:16. The anger of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua had divided them. He would no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. And that's what the same thing is said in Isaiah. I always get it mixed up. It's either 33 or 31, but whichever chapter it is, it's in verse 1. Let's just get it real quick. As a matter of fact, there's actually a few down from there that you can read. I want to say it's 31. I might be wrong. Oh, yeah, it's 31c. The water Yahweh Shah. Woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. Those of you that trust in Babylon the Great, you trust in the system, you trust in government, but you don't trust the words of the prophets, right? Because those are the words of the Heavenly Father. It's not our words. We just here to warn you. We have one job. We're not out here to be your friends, okay? We have one job, which is to teach the gospel and to warn the Israelites, okay? Speak the Lord's, judgments, all right? Pretty much everything, because that's what the prophets do. Everything concerning the scriptures, all right? The prophets are there to tell, okay? But the main message is to the Israelites. And we're telling you to return back to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Basham Yahushua, and stop trusting in your social media politicians and, your big screens and the government and whatever else, okay? Stop trusting your voting system and so on and so forth. And stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many. Yeah, what does America do? They boast themselves to be the strongest, this, that, and the third thing. And guess what? They really are, right, when it comes to technology, because it's been spoken about, like armies showcasing their troops and things that they have, okay, on a parade, and America did the same thing, and they look weak, okay, but yeah, they may have looked weak, but you have to understand there's still some mighty men amongst, because they got a mixed up army, men, women, and those that are in between, okay, but the straight men are the mighty men. So the point that I'm making is, aside from all that, you have to understand the technology that Babylon possesses, okay? Their technology is what really still makes them such a threat and a challenge. So even though the military may perceive to look weak, all right, their technology makes up for that, okay? Their weapons and their systems and stuff like that makes up for that. So Babylon's not something that you're just going to roll over, which is why when it comes to the destruction of Babylon, it's mentioned by happening by all the other nations together, okay? So it's not just a cakewalk for the nations to handle. And that's why the Lord has set it up that it's going to be handled by nuclear missiles, because that's the only way to deal with the great whore. So it says, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. And that's what we're telling our people, man. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. But the wicked forsake his way. Wicked Israelites, that scripture's talking about. Same thing in Ecclesiastes 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Because look what's happening. Okay, we're telling you that make haste. All right, make haste to repent and seek out the Lord now, while the prophets are on the street, and while the that music is still playing on the internet. Because soon, okay, the Lord's gonna he's gonna stop the tape. You're not gonna hear this song anymore. Okay, and that's gonna be it. You're gonna be left to your own wicked devices, into the confusion, into the madness. Yeah, also he is wise. I really want to jump down to 3. We'll read into it. And will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Because ultimately Esau will go down. All right, just to make a quick point. But before that, he's going to bring down that wrath. Okay, that 12:12. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall fell together. Okay, so we will go back to Lamentations. It says, as for us, our eyes are yet filled for our vain help, and our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So that's what we're telling our people now, to wake up and smell the coffee, man, while you have a chance. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. And that's what they're doing now. They're hunting our steps. They went out to the north, then they're going out to the south. Okay, and the way they're hunting our steps is through the troops. Okay. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. Okay, that's straightforward. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. All right, so that's all I wanted to get into. Just speaking briefly about that. It's not going to stop. Trump is going to keep sending troops, but he's going to do it little bit by little bit. So, will you edify? Next thing else, Riley going to say.
After sending the National Guard into Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump now says he's deploying troops to Memphis, Tennessee to combat crime in the city. He made the announcement on Fox and Friends on Friday.
We're going to Memphis. Memphis that's the next city. Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. I would have preferred going to Chicago.
Democratic Representative Steve Cohen, who represents Memphis, responded in a statement saying Memphis is not a troubled city, as President Trump has said. We have a crime problem. He added the problem is made worse as a result of slavery, segregation, and underfunded programs for low-income communities. He says the ultimate solution is investing in proven programs. According to an analysis by Axios of FBI data, Memphis had the 4th highest homicide rate in the nation in 2024, with nearly 41 homicides per 100,000 people. Jackson, Mississippi had the highest, with nearly 78 homicides per 100,000. While Trump says he would have preferred sending troops into Chicago, where he says the environment is too hostile and filled with professional agitators, Illinois' Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker is opposed to any effort by Trump to deploy the National Guard to his state. Trump most recently deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C., as the federalization of the nation's capital just expired this week. The president is also facing lawsuits for deploying National Guard and U.S. Marines to Los Angeles to quell protest over U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement raids earlier this year. Trump has not said how many troops will be deployed to Memphis, but they are reportedly expected to directly assist in law enforcement operations. Memphis Mayor Paul Young said in a statement he was informed of the potential deployment of troops to his city earlier this week, but says what is needed most is financial help to enhance prevention efforts while emphasizing progress is being made in the fight against crime.
Right, let's now shift our attention to what is happening in London this evening. The streets of London are flooded with thousands of these far-right protesters. This is the country's witnessing its anti-immigration demonstrations, one of its biggest anti-immigration demonstrations in years. The rally has sparked clashes between these far-right activist Tommy Robinson supporters, the police, and also the counter-demonstrators. Immigration is the most heated political issue in Britain, and this is what this anti-immigration protest in Britain looks like at this moment. An estimated 110,000 protesters marched through central London with aerial footage showing a massive crowd carrying the English flag waving as they marched. Now, the demonstrators also rallied under the banner of Unite the Kingdom protest. Initially, the rally was portrayed as a show of free speech. It also paid tributes to the US conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead in Utah.
I think the current government is a disgrace. It's taking away our liberties and making up things as they go along. I've never seen a government so disorganised.
Now, according to estimates, more than 100,000 people were a part of this anti-immigrant protest. Many of them chanted, "Stop the boats, send them back home." The London police had deployed about 16,000 of its police personnel, including 500 from other parts of the country. A smaller counter-protest of about just 5,000 anti-racism campaigners gathered in the city, and their placards read, "No to fascism" and "Refugees are welcome." But this group was heavily outnumbered by Tommy Robinson's far-right group. After all the security, the protesters broke through the scuffles. Some even tried to breach the cordons. The police also are investigating reports of clashes between rival groups. Now, ironically, this protest is overshadowing the economic concerns in Britain. Now, talking about immigration, more than 28,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel in small boats in the year 2025. And now this massive protest shows as to how sharply the country is divided on the question of immigration. This is what? This is the anger and the resentment that Tommy Robinson is trying to tap into.
Germany, in this case, stands by its commitments on three elements: providing credible deterrence and, if required, the readiness to defend NATO territory in this country. Second, by providing credible and robust and deployable forces. And thirdly, it's about reliability. Reliable forces with regards to our allies, to our partners, to this country, Lithuania.
Guys on top, they fill now the fuel tank, approximately 9,000 liters of fuel.
The world is in a political free-fall. From corruption scandals to migration fears, instability is spreading across continents. And in the span of just 1 month, France, Japan and Nepal have all seen their prime ministers step down, while massive immigration protests are shaking Australia, New Zealand, Spain, Canada, Serbia and the Philippines. France has once again witnessed a prime minister resign after Francois Bayrou becoming the third leader to step down in 14 months amid escalating debt concerns and other issues. In Nepal, Gen Z protesters brought down KP Sharma Oli's government, forcing him to resign and flee. Citing their frustration over corruption, nepotism and economic stagnation, they burnt down the Parliament House and other government buildings. Days later, former Chief Justice Sushila Karki took oath as the interim Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba stepped down after the ruling party suffered its worst defeat in decades. That was triggered by rising prices, stagnant wages, aging demographics and immigration. Indonesia too has been rocked by deadly riots that are sparked by lawmakers' perks against a backdrop of inequality. In Manila, outrage is building over billions lost to flood control scams, with dozens of politicians under investigation. Thousands of protesters joined the March for Australia, blaming immigration for rising rents, traffic and lower wages. And in New Zealand's Auckland, rallies featured flag burning and chants. Immigration has become entangled with debates over co-governance and religious identity. In Canada, protesters are brewing at Toronto's Christie Pitts Park, drawing chilling comparisons to the city's 1933 riot. In Serbia, tennis player Novak Djokovic has been labelled as a traitor over his support for anti-government protests. Reports now suggest that Djokovic could now move to Greece with his family. The political movements are paralysing the globe, with governments falling and falling.
Right now, there's also the space to hold the enemies of democracy accountable. People like Duterte, who don't care about human rights and or also involved in corruption. People like Marcos, who destroyed or spread so much misinformation and also turned a blind eye to corruption until it was finally brought to his doorstep that this can't go on. So I think our side, we need to figure out the story we're going to tell. But I think we've fought onto something, and I think right now what's very important is we stand with the people.
Kulong na yan, mga kurakot! Kulong na yan, mga kurakot! Man po, kapayapaan yung isinusulong natin ngayon, pero pinapakita rin natin.
All right, so as we wrap up this edition of our broadcast, we leave you with these images from across the globe that made headlines this week. Thanks for watching. Bye.